I'm really excited to be talking with Hawk today. He'll pronounce his full name for you.
Yeah, that
If you
sounds
know
really
this guy, you know this guy. I'm super excited to have Hawk on as on the topic of advocacy. As a word nerd, I looked up advocate. And there's those who advocate as a lawyer would for a profession, but then there's the rest of us. And
good.
definition number two is the act of arguing in favor of or supporting something. And definition number three is the practice of supporting someone to make their voice heard. And that's definitely what we're about. And it's what I love about you, Hawk. Just so people have a little bit of background on you, it's varied and interesting. I love your music. It's moving and it's powerful. And ancient healing music is on. Is it SoundCloud
Oh yeah, on Spotify and
and
Apple Music
Spotify?
and everywhere. But mo that's where I publish just about everything is on SoundCloud.
Okay. And
Hmm.
it's wonderful to have him in your world, in your living room. I'm just going to say that. Um, so he says a lot just through music, but he also says it a lot through his profession. And just to give you a little bit of backstory, as he says, he was spoon-fed young and and all the other greats in psychology as a child. And it's no wonder that he grew up to become the social worker and healer that he is. Hawk is an advocate and has been an advocate for a variety of things. And I wanted to point out a couple of those things, and not the least of which, when he appeared, does this show? It does my oh
No,
bugger. I was gonna
no.
okay. All right, so I'm new at this. I won't do the demo on the books after all. I've okay. Okay, now that's really
Bullied,
scary looking. I
bullied.
yes, so bullied.
The
Yes.
ghost book.
Yes, it's a really good book. And Hawk also appeared in My Fur Baby wrote this book. I'm talking about the beloved Nessie. Lockheed, sorry, what is it?
Trollhead's Nessie.
Trollheads.
Trollhead's Nessie is her full name.
I've got Lockheed Martin in my head, which is not good.
Uh,
And then in the mental health book, volume number 11, a very important book. And he is also a contributor in the best-selling book of all the ones that I've done in the last year and a half, which is called Speechless, giving the hashtag voiceless a voice, in which Hawk was the reason that this book came about, quite honestly,
mm,
as well as the tagline for it. And both of us are very passionate about giving people a voice that don't have one for whatever reason. And so I just want to parlay right into that with your choice of topic today, your advocacy.
mm, yeah, and that is about those who are either they are voiceless because they can't, or because of pressures from society. They're not allowed to. That is so that encompasses quite a large group because there are very many people who are forced into being speechless or voiceless.
You know what's crazy, Hawk, is that there are so many people who aren't limited and they don't use their voice.
Mm,
And they could. And then the ones that can't, that want to, need advocates like you
mm,
to elevate a cause, awareness around a cause or an injustice.
mm.
And it's so important that we all stand up not only for ourselves but for others who can't, because
Yeah,
we can.
yeah.
And you have done that in remarkable ways for children. Even as a healer, didn't you were telling me off camera, you can't even tell people that you can no, go ahead and finish that sentence.
Yeah. I'm not if somebody makes a post saying that I got help from Haakon with healing this and that, if that is not allowed, and if I should uh, share that on Facebook, for instance, then I can get sued and face quite serious fines and possibly
Ugh.
also imprisonment. And we are not as licensed healers when you're in the registry, the certified healer registry, then you are not allowed to treat serious conditions, such as cancer and all of the really bad conditions, and you're not allowed to treat infectious disease. Yeah, and also I'm also a therapist, and that is a fascinating thing. If somebody comes to me and says that I I feel I have issues with my sexuality, I feel as if I'm not comfortable with how I live my life sexually, if they are like bi or gay or whatever, and I work with them, then that I can get in prison for up to 6 years, I believe, because that is
What?
then yeah, because then it's what do you call it? Uh, I'm working on changing their sexual identity is how it's, and so that means I'm not as a therapist I can't work with that, and it's silly because I understand, if I can understand the rationale behind the law. If you are forced by a religious group or whatever, you have to change. You can't be gay, and they really go in and try to change your how who you get turned on by. That is one thing, but there's something totally different. Somebody comes to me and says, "Hey, I need to talk about this. I want to make a change." Then I shouldn't be limited by that. Yeah, but this is Norway.
Well, there are limitations on our speech that are coming down, barreling down on us at the same time that they're writing laws for themselves to have AI bots with profiles that are indiscernible from humans. And
Mm,
there, and we have a real inequality here on freedom of speech and expression and the opportunity to advocate for yourself or for others.
mm,
And that is why I'm so passionate about this book that's coming up, because I believe that and I know the work you do is healing, and it
mm,
shouldn't be limited. And the powers that be have done that. And all we can try to do is work within a system until the system doesn't work anymore,
mm.
which kind of it doesn't.
Yeah,
you know,
and I want to kick the system at times, and to say, because I want to say that this is not okay. A system should be to the benefit of those they serve. It shouldn't be the other way around.
there you go. There
And
you go.
I think it's very simple,
Yeah.
and once you get a system that is the other way around, then the problem is it will be self-sustaining, and it will increase, it will grow, like we see with bureaucracy, which is a huge problem in Norway. We have a lot of bureaucrats. All they do is push paper. They just stamp here, move it, and they make a lot of money doing that.
There are so many positions that are in place only because of writing in a word like, whatever, climate,
Mm,
and then they get funded. There are
yeah.
so many people who are hanging on to uh, really bad ideas, and yeah, and doing it because they think that maybe they can't do anything else. But I would
Mm,
beg to differ.
yeah.
If only half the creativity that's gone into limiting people in just being human beings, if only
Mm,
half of that creativity was channeled into a better world, everyone could find a way to benefit.
yeah.
Everyone could. But,
Y-
we're
Yeah,
really,
and it's fascinating to mention climate. I mean, I've done a lot of research, personal research on this, and I know that there is a division, but there's only one avenue that is accepted. But to me, it's like, okay, we focus on how temperature of the world is increasing, and at the same time, we have a huge problem with plastic in our brains, microplastic. We have problem with plastic in the seas, everywhere. Okay, this is something that is so much easier to do something about, and it would have so much larger repercussions for our kids and everything.
Here, here's
Why not focus on that? Why?
here's you ready for this?
Mm,
The FDA has declared plastic a food group. In their infinite
mm,
wisdom, these people
okay.
should be fired. How is that a food group? Oh, hang on,
Yeah,
because it's
but
in everything
let
already.
me just. I need to take a bite. I'm kind of hungry.
Honestly, it's insane. Welcome to Crazy Town. And so, it's kind of like if you're watching this and you're like, well, I want to be published. What's that like? You've done this 4 times with me and found it a good process. Yeah, or you wouldn't have done it 4 times.
Yeah, because it was fascinating is that going through such a process solidifies your own views, but at the same time it opens you up to other input, uh, working with others, the way we've been doing in the workshops.
Yeah.
That brings a sense of community to something that's often very solitary. So it's that is really a beneficial process. I think that's and it's necessary because I mean my, how I see the world is not something that I as a single individual have come up with. I'm inspired by so many people, so many thinkers who've gone before us, and there are so many good things to learn from literature, from music, from just about art, everything. And we need those inputs. We can't just sit here and spin around in our own little head and say that, oh yes, I figured out everything. Because most thoughts have been had before, but they haven't been had by you. And if you manage to synthesize whatever you have experienced and channel it, then you can truly create change.
I think you've brought up a great point. I was listening to, excuse me, the launch of a particular kind of AI, and how it's going to just, you plug in the right prompts and it'll just spit out this article for you.
Mm,
And whoop-de-doo. The actual fact is that what you just said, the collaboration, the other eyes, the other minds that are on what you're doing in the moment you're doing it, you don't
mm,
have that sitting in front of a computer telling AI that you want to do these certain talking points and help me.
mm,
You're isolated. And
yeah.
this coming together does make a difference.
Mm,
And it's not a life sentence, it's a weekend,
yeah.
it's like we get so much done so fast and it's really fun.
Yeah, it really is. It is fun. It's intense, and it's draining, but it's really fascinating. But I want to point out I'm not antagonistic towards AI myself. I use it as a tool. For instance, I have some interviews that's been up on YouTube. I took 3 of them and I plugged them into the Google on the Notebook LM, whatever it's called, and then it created a dialogue from those interviews. And then I listened to it and I learned something about my own approach. I learned that, okay, there are some holes in your reasoning here. There's something that you need to clarify. But it also solidified parts of what I was talking about, because I tend to blabber a lot.
But you will remember that one of the self-editing techniques is to listen to what you've written.
Mm,
And that's really good feedback. And I
yeah,
love that about you with your willingness to look at what you've done and always continuous improvement, self-improvement. Yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah, and that is why not often, always at least once listen to the interviews I've been a part of, because I want to improve. I that and it's necessary, and then I can become 1% better next time. And yeah.
do you have any tips for somebody who might wonder, like, well, what could I talk about? I want to
Mm,
be published. I,
mm.
I I know that I need a book because being published, it does add authority, credibility, and expertise.
Oh yes. And what I would advise is that you externalize from yourself. You for a week, for instance, go into what have you been doing in your life? What have you worked voluntarily with something? What has your discussions that you had with other people? What were they regarding? What did you read on whatever newspaper or media you use? Where is your focus? Find where your passion is. What is it that stops you when your mind is scrolling through on Facebook, for instance? What is that stops you and makes you, oh, is it the rights of animals? Is it the rights of children, women? That's where you find it. And then narrow it down. Because we all have something special within our fields that is necessary to explore.
And that's a really great advice, is the thing that you say the most, or that people find you say the most that's valuable to them.
Mm,
Because advocacy can be like Russ Johns, kindness is cool, smiles are free.
mm,
We all know Russ's little ditty now, right?
yeah, yeah.
And so
Love
he's an
us.
advocate. He's an advocate for kindness.
Yeah.
And I, in doing the research for this book, I realized I'm an advocate for elevating voices.
Mm,
I, it's my passion. And so when you're looking at yourself, if you're listening to this and like, well, I don't really have a cause, I do get a little irked with something, then ask yourself, well, what about it? What
mm,
about it bothers you?
mm.
What
Yeah.
about it do you want to make a post about? What are you driven to share with others? Hey, did you hear this? Do you see this? Or, what is it? Do you have a coaching business? Are you an advocate for health?
Mm, mm,
Self-expression, you
mm.
know? It doesn't have to be a named cause for it to matter.
No, and it can be because it's not as if we all have to have these big, huge things like fighting big pharma or fighting the inequality of gender, all of that. You don't really need to have this. It doesn't have to be big. It can be that I see in my community that the Romani people are being discriminated against. What we used to call gypsies. Okay, this is not a huge thing. It's something very concrete, and then you can work on that,
Yes.
and but also to remember to go in the process, be both pro and contra. Say, okay, what do I see is uh, good about what is happening? To be able to be a devil's advocate and say that, okay, what is good about them discriminating against Romani people? Because that process really sets in, you really get uh, observant of your own views when you do that, to be able to step into both sides of the coin.
Yeah, it's fair enough. And I really think that it's important now more than ever to take advantage of the fact that we still have the opportunity to speak up, speak
Mm,
out, and print, because we
mm,
are being slowly but surely um, moved away from that.
mm.
And I, you know, regret is the heaviest baggage of all.
Yeah.
And so without regret, live your life and and
Oh,
and enact whatever it is that you can upon others to help them.
yeah.
Because what I have found is
Mm,
that there's been no greater fulfillment than watching the authors in all these books ex- excel. The,
mm,
the change in confidence,
mm,
the way that it ripples out through the rest of their lives. And that's a service to others. We
mm,
live in an environment of service to self.
mm. Yeah, and that is so important what you're saying there, and also I'm writing on a new book. It's it's in Norwegian. It has the subtitle "The Art of Saving Lives." Um,
Wow.
yes, and let's see if I can find where because there was something that was really relevant to. Yeah, I write about the power of allowing yourself to be brilliant at something. I mean, like you have a amazing way with words. Your vocabulary in English is sky high compared to mine, and you really know how to use language. So I can use you as someone who can help inspire me to become better.
Mhm.
And I think this goes also for therapy. I think it goes for healing. I think it goes for advocacy. We need the Martin Luther Kings. We need the Mahatma Gandhis. We need the Buddhas. We need the Jesuses. We need those who can be as good as it's possible to be in order to have a goal and inspiration. And that's because what I see in especially in my country is we are very focused on the rights of those who have problems with something. You know, I have dyslexia or I have this and that. Uh, and we forget that we should also acknowledge the rights of those who are good at something, that they should also be allowed to shine in order, as you say, to create a ripple effect that
Yeah.
helps other like that. Wow, I want to be like her. I want to do this. I'll get a Thunberg, whatever, lights your buttons. Right?
Yes.
That is, and that's so important.
Yeah, it really is. I hope that this conversation has inspired you. And if it isn't for you, perhaps it's for someone that you know, because this is a unique opportunity. The weekend is February 28th and March 1st, and we publish a week later. And you can go to Book Lonnie. Hey, I got it right this time.
What?
It's like advanced math for me to know which way to lean, dude. For real.
Yeah, but it's annoying. It's not like a mirror.
Wait, It's okay, that. The Advocates, the Healers, and Heeding a Higher Calling is a title that came about thanks to Chef Jill Sullivan. And
Mm,
so honestly, it's collaboration with the people like you, Hawk, and Jill, and others that have come along as a result of doing these service for others that
mm.
has made everybody's life better. Yeah. And with all the heart I have, thank you for all that you do to help others, especially the children.
Thank you.
You're such a blessing. All right, guys, if you're interested, hop over to wait. Hop over to
Yeah.
booklonnie.com. There you go. Hey. And click on the Advocates tab. I'm very excited to bring this book to the forefront. Books are how we learn and
Mm,
share and grow.
yeah.
That's it for now.
Just do it.
Just do it. I love it. Thanks.